What's going on, good people? Colin Devane here from Grow Your Own Productions. As many of y'all know, I've been on the road touring Southern California's horticultural landscape, just seeing who's growing stuff, how are they growing it, right? We've got a unique climate here. So how do they do it? How do they deal with it? Mainly backyard gardeners, mini homesteads, some people with backyard nurseries. In the case of today, she's a little bit of both, backyard gardener and mini backyard business. Been visiting community gardens, all kinds of people. Today, very stoked to share with y'all someone who is doing a lot of work for herself and her community. She's growing food for her own family, enjoying healthy food with them, enjoying self-reliance, and she's also sharing plants with other people, teaching them how to do it, and developing a productive business in her backyard. I want y'all to be able to see yourself doing whatever they're doing. If this is something that interests you, if you have some newfound time at home and you'd like to explore what getting into growing plants can do for you, I want to show various paths that you could take, right? Various ways that you could just get inspired here, how to start growing your own stuff. So the Plant Plug LA is today's interview. We did an extended interview and I'm stoked to share the whole thing with you. She is a wealth of information, wealth of knowledge, shares all kinds of little tips and tricks and pointers, very crucial stuff. Let's hear what she has to say.
Hi, my name's Taylor. I go by Taylor Lindsay is my government name. I also go by the Plant Plug Los Angeles. We're here in the beautiful South Central California, or South Central Los Angeles, aka the most dangerous corner in the world back in 1993. So look at us now. Still the same, it's just, But this is the operation for my family and I. I do run a home-based nursery. I'm learning slowly a little bit more about permaculture, self-sufficiency, what have you. And I'm going to show y'all that not only can you do this on your own, but you can do it affordably. Affordably is a word, right? Okay, you can do it. You can afford to do so, and also start with a lot of things you already have in the house. Okay, so this is the aloe farm. It started off as 2 mother plants. A mother plant is a plant that can produce on its own. I usually tell people it produces asexually and so forth. So that's when it produces out pups, or in this case, offsets. It started off as 2 plants. They came with the house. About 6 years ago, I separated them. 5-6 years ago, I separated them, and I started a full-on farm, a zigzag pattern. I did a zigzag pattern for 2 reasons. 1, you can walk through it, and 2, it makes it look fuller. So this started off as about 24, 26 plants. Now 5 years later, I have about 100, as you can see right in front of you. Currently, we're undergoing some sheet mulching. What we do is we mat out weeds naturally with cardboard. You want to make sure you take off the stickers and so forth, and then cover it with dirt. It'll completely mat out the weeds, no chemicals and no cutting involved. And then we're finishing that. And then also I want to put my money where my mouth is. I'm really big on food over lawns, and lawns actually consume more water than gardening does. I just want to make that clear. It's a big misconception that gardening is going to send your water bill sky high. It's actually maintaining lawns. And we're growing 3 patches of food. Here I have marigolds and spaghetti squash. And then I have pumpkins and corn because they're complementary. And over there I have cantaloupe and flowers. Those flowers, I don't know where they came from. I think they were in some recycled soil, because I like to repurpose soils. And they just started sprouting up. So I'm not 100% sure what type of flowers they are. At first I thought it was a bunch of corn. It's not corn. And then we're seeing where the flowers are taking.
Wait, this isn't corn?
I don't think it's corn.
Wow.
Yeah, because usually corn gives off silks. It's in order to stimulate pollination. The bee population is dying at an alarming rate, right, as many of us know. And without bees, we don't exist. Right. That's how I see it. So as you can see, the cantaloupes have flowers here forming. So the bees would be really big in helping pollinate all of this. So this is just...
See these flies flying around too? They help pollinate.
They do too. So do ants. And so do those, I call them sacred beetles, those iridescent June bug looking kind of beetles. It says that they go back way back as far as like the first pollinators go. So way before the honeybee. I really appreciate them. I think they're blind. I don't think they can see. So they come around here too. And we're getting a little bit more butterflies, but pollination is huge. And I don't know whose cat that is, but he's kicking it. We have 4 cats and none of them are mine. So safe space for everybody, right?
Right.
Okay, so I can show you the rest of the operation.
Please.
If you want to briefly,
I heard the saga of this You found a beat up thing. She told me the saga a little bit yesterday. Can you
so
count it for us?
I didn't start driving until I was 29. So I walked here and there, and I was walking to the bus stop, and there was a restaurant that changed owners like 3 times in 1 year, and there was a drive-through, and I saw a piece of this there, and that's what I just got into propagating about 5 years ago. So I started with the aloes.
Can you tell us real quick what's the definition of propagating?
So propagation is when you take off a piece or a cutting of another plant, and the propagation could either be soil propagation or water propagation. So for me, cacti were the easiest and succulents were the easiest because they adapt to their environment. They're native to California. They're very resilient and great in drier climates. Like
so you got your aloes and your nopal. And
the nopal, and these are the edible ones. This one's more ornamental. I really want to get my hands on some prickly pear, but I don't have any.
With the fruit?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So I found this, and it was actually in the street. It was a piece of it was in the street, so I had to make sure I didn't get hit.
So it was just one flat?
It was one flat, yeah. And then I put it in the ground, and my family thought it was dead, and then we moved it over here, and then 5 years later it turned into this.
Wow.
So I pruned it actually at the beginning of quarantine in March, and then it just exploded into that. It had maybe like maybe 12 extension patties on it. I only took off 7 because they were sticking out because we had a lot of mail carriers come in. I didn't want them to get stabbed, and then it went boom and did it again. So
pruning sometimes inspires them, right?
Yes, just like we need haircuts and stuff like that, and it stimulates growth. Same thing with the plants.
My haircut, right.
Yeah, and they appreciate it. They're like, "Thank you so much." Right. So then they give off all this. This is actually this is the office plant, and now it's a full-on tree.
There you go.
This is another office.
You rescued it from an office?
Yeah, a lot of these are rescues. A ton of these are rescues.
You hear that? It's not only animals who need rescuing.
These are cuttings. I used to work for Whole Foods, so they would put signs up that told me not to touch the plants. Because I touch cactus with my bare hands. So I got a cutting from work, and then it just turned into this. I propagated from Kalanchoe from Madagascar.
That's what that is?
Yeah, they're from Madagascar. They're actually mostly sold during the winter, during Christmas time, because that's when they flower.
Okay.
So
Kalanchoe?
Yeah, Kalanchoe, yeah.
Kalanchoe.
So here's some more rescues.
Wow.
Right here, and this is the staging part of the operation.
Staging part? What happens in the staging?
So staging is like where you set it up where people would look. So if anybody ever came by to buy a plant, I would, I have all these projects right here. Right. And then these are the plants that I have for sale. All grown from seed by hand. I think it's organic as it gets. I'm not really big on those labels, because there's a lot of loopholes.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I do, and then I hand pack them right here. I have corn, I have cucumbers, pumpkins, all the seasonal stuff. I have beets. I have a propagated pineapple.
There you go.
You too can grow your own pineapple.
Yes.
Sweet potato. Rescued hydrangea. Propagating with sauce jars, more Kalanchoe. I was gifted some aloes, so I'm working on those. And then peas.
Reusing.
Kombucha bottles are amazing for that.
Right?
Kombucha is the gift that keeps on giving. And then I'm going to show you the farm.
Yes.
So, okay, let me be very clear. It did not start out as a farm. This was like, we had 3 plants, and now this took 5 years to come together. So this is what we're working with now. But the cool thing is that a lot of cities have free programs that make it more available and accessible. Oh, I have chickens too. I hope you don't mind. As far as getting materials. So if you were to do like your local, well, I don't know if this is nationwide, but in LA at least, you do 311 or 211, you're able to get free mulch throughout different places, and also find out if they have free garden bed programs where you can go pick up like trees and so forth. And also the DWP does things like this too.
Nice.
So 211 or 311. Check the website first before you start calling. So this is the sunflower patch. I just took them out because they don't live very long. That is a Mexican torch sunflower. The germination took forever on those, but it was well worth it. I only got 2 flowers out of it, but I didn't know that it flowered so many heads. And look at that deep orange. I've never seen anything like that in my life, and those petals are like silk. So I put in some more autumns, and then I was doing some seed saving with this. As far as mammoths go, the seed, I'm supposed to cut off the heads, but once it dries, you can see.
That's a type of sunflower?
It's a type of sunflower. It's a very, sorry, I'm just calling them by name. But it's very tall, and as you can see, you get the sunflower seeds like you would in the packs, right?
Yeah.
You roast them, they're ranch flavored now. But this is the best and most efficient way, and also very easy as far as seed saving goes, and then you can carry them into the next season.
So if, say, I'm a kid and I buy some sunflower seeds from the store with the shells on it, can I plant them?
No, you cannot, because the ones that you mean like the snacks?
Yeah.
No, you cannot, because they're already cooked, and the meat is already completely, you can't regrow it, and then they're deeply roasted, and they have a lot of preservatives in them, so you're not going to be able to do so. But you can go to the store and get a pack for the same price, they cost the same, and then grow it yourself, and then you'll have an option, like, okay, I'm going to save the heads off of this, and then what you do is you let it dry out in the sun for like a week or two, and then you can blanch these for 15 minutes, salt them, roast them, and eat them, and then save the rest to grow more. So this is only one sunflower, and sometimes the heads get maybe 6-7 inches in diameter, and then that just one sunflower can produce so many seeds. So just this flower alone, I'm gonna get, as you can see, at least about 30 seeds. So from the mammoth, one of my favorite varieties. Okay. So there are the chickens.
What store would they find sunflower seeds at?
So I get a lot of my stuff from eBay, because a lot of farmers that are independent sell seeds for really, really cheap. You buy directly from them. I actually prefer, and they send little notes like, thank you, you're saving the farm. Like, I have so many handwritten notes. Bean Acres is one of my favorites. And they just sent, that's my favorite go-to if you're going through online. But you can always go to a Home Depot or a Lowe's and just pick up a pack. So, but I like that touch. This is the little things, and I feel like I'm supporting, like we're all supporting each other. So, I don't know if the chickens like these seeds. I can give it to them.
Let's check it out.
Okay, so
chicken experiment.
We're building another greenhouse right here. We're gonna move out all this stuff and then build a larger greenhouse.
Nice.
Right now I just have 4 small ones. Oh, they're kind of shy right now. Those are the chickens. Let's see.
What kind are they?
They are Rhode Island Reds.
Rhode Island Reds.
Rhode Island Reds, and what they usually do is that they just come out and they forage for bugs all day. They love to eat. They're about 3 years old. Oh, she does like the seeds.
There she goes.
They're about 3 years old. They lay when they're happy, and it turns out the average chicken that we see in the store for eating is only 6 months old. So that's why these appear to be so big, because they're practically to adulthood. They're adults, and then also laying hens inside within the food industry, they only live to be about 1 or 2 years old. That's 2, 1 or 2 years old, and because 30% of their own body's nutrients go into every egg they lay. Wow. So wild chickens only lay 10 to 12 times a year. As a woman ovulates, same thing.
Really?
But the chickens that we have bred in America that I know of lay every single day, and it cuts their lifespan by 90%. So what we do is that we hard boil their eggs and feed them back to them, and it adds years to their lives.
Really?
And yeah, so that's what we do. These are Rhode Island Reds. My mom got them from a farm north of LA, and we've had them for 3 years. We've been hosting chickens. So
that's awesome.
They're just like having dogs. They love to dig. They actually can fly up to 5 to 6 feet high. They can. I've seen them because they flew right into here and tore everything up. And they have great memories. They will watch TV with you. Just that we don't let them in the house because they mess everywhere.
Right.
But when they really like you, they peck you in the back of the leg, which is very painful. But they don't know.
That's their hello.
So, yeah, that's their hello. So they have their own kiddie pool
Nice.
because it got really hot. So I have a friend, Caitlin and Chris, they donated the kiddie pool for the chickens. Some chickens don't like being wet, but when worst comes to worst, you just got to dunk them because they start to get ill around 90 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
So this is, just to remind everyone, we're in the middle of the city, in the middle of LA.
Yes, the hood.
And this is a farm. This is a beautiful farm in the backyard, complete with chickens. Just a reminder.
Yes.
This can be done.
Yes. So this is where we're at. So I have these 5 beds for the family. This is our own food. All the food that I showed you earlier is what I sell to the public. And we do a lot of giveaways too. So we're actually supposed to give away about 4 plants for 12 families next week with Black Dollar Friday, just so people can get started and get their hands. Because like I said, I started off with 5 plants, and now it's all of this. My parents did a local gardening class too, and they were gifted some beds, and then my dad built a few, and then I did companion planting. So companion planting, say that you have a small space, you do have 1 bed. What you do is you grow plants that are complementary with each other as far as the nutrients they give, the pest control that they can provide for each other, and also having similar care needs. So my favorite, the one I talk about all the time, is the native sister trio. It was actually started by the Iroquois, the indigenous people of the Iroquois. They were actually pushed out of places, and they were facing a lot of drought. So what happened was they were using small mounds to grow corn, squash, and green beans together. So I have this one bed right here. It has corn, squash. A squash family could be zucchini, yellow squash, spaghetti squash, even pumpkins. And then they all give off different nutrients to help with each other's growth, as well as squash are covered in spikes. Not the fruit per se, not the plant per se, but the parts of the plant. So like the tubes attached to the leaves, when you touch them, they're covered in spikes, so that prevents raccoons and possums from coming and eating your crops. We got a possum actually the other day, but they were in the garage. We get squirrels, so when they come and they try to chomp on that, it actually hurts them. I don't mean it to hurt them, but it's just another example of natural pest control, because it happens. You coming outside and seeing everything tore up by chickens. I was gonna say kangaroos. There's no kangaroos out here. It's pretty devastating, especially if you're trying to provide for you and your family. Like kangaroos. Some people get deer. And I'm like, that sounds real. Where are you? In Kansas or something, like the deer. Yeah. Oh yeah, deer. So and then I have marigolds. One of my other favorites. Marigolds are great pest control and pollinators. Awesome. So I have them right next to it.
What do they do for pest control?
So pest control is some flowers and some herbs emit smells that smaller pests don't like, and so basil can be one of them. Mint is a big one, but you always want to keep your mint separate because it's very intrusive and it will take over anything, any bed. You'll see that the mint is gone, and then you see it's back because the roots are insidious. They're just like, they'll just take over anything. So you want the mint to be separate. Citronella, another natural pest control, and they just don't like the smells. But basil flowers, so basil does flower at the top, and bees love that. So we're trying to mostly keep away cats. Like I said, I have 4 cats that they're not mine, but they live here apparently. And then also squirrels, but we haven't been getting a lot of squirrels lately. And then I appreciate ants. I just don't like when they're in the corn though, because once they get in the corn, that's it. Your corn's gone. But I appreciate ants because they can move pollen as well. But we're trying to get more bees. So that's the plan. This is a white peach tree.
Are you planting anything specifically with bees in mind?
Yes. Other than the marigolds.
Or are you going to bring in any? Oh, nice sunflowers.
Yeah,
are you going to bring in any hives yet, or is that allowed here?
Okay, so we can do that, but I want to know what I'm doing first. I actually have some friends that have bees. They have like a farm-like setup, and they're in the middle of Hollywood. And they told me that, hey, if you want to get into bees, let us know. They have suits and everything, and you wouldn't know what a beekeeper looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like under their suit, So they do keep bees. Unfortunately, they lost a lot of them. About 2 years ago, they lost a lot of bees, so their avocados weren't coming in and so forth. So I do keep. This is a pumpkin plant. It's not really growing too well, but I'm keeping it for pollination and aesthetic reasons. I got 1 pumpkin this year because it was so hot. So whenever you have a squash plant and it's super duper hot, you get mostly male flowers. So in botany, there's male and female flowers. It's funny because they actually mimic male and female parts, and they're supposed to pollinate each other. But I couldn't even hand pollinate because I couldn't find 1 female flower.
Wow. Yeah,
they're all males. It's a total bro fest in here. So what I'm doing just to invite the bees is grow more marigolds, but I just found this out today. Speaking of self-sufficiency and seed saving. So sometimes marigolds, they'll die on you, look as dead. But what you can do is you can take the head, the dried broken off head, and peel it back, and those are all marigold seeds. Those are seeds. So what you do is you can just bury it and pray, and hopefully they come back. Or you could save them. And some people actually make teas out of them. Now, I do not know the medicinal qualities, but that doesn't mean, just because I don't know, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Yeah. But this is something I started doing recently because marigolds are very inexpensive to buy pre-bloomed, but a lot of like larger places, they don't water their plants. Like you go to the clearance rack at Home Depot, they're all dead, and then you get them home and water them, and they're like, oh, this is still very much alive, but I got a whole thing of roses for $1.50. So I just bury them like that, and hopefully they grow more. And this is a tomato-based companion plant bed. Tomatoes love marigolds for the pest control. All greens, so I have sorrel. Also onions, so I have green onions, propagated green onions. Super easy to regrow.
Just from the store bought, huh?
Store-bought onions, and then
just chop the.
And then put it back in the ground.
Chop that part off, the top
and then
part.
Put it back in the ground.
Gross.
And then I have yellow pear tomatoes. I have a collard tree. It was a cutting that was gifted to me. And then we have, I believe these are early girls. These are either cherry tomato or early girl tomatoes. I don't know my tomatoes yet, but we have that. And then there's another propagation technique too. So I'm gonna teach you one more propagation technique.
Appreciate it.
So when it comes to tomato plants, some people get tomatoes and it's giving off these it's giving off all these tomatoes at first, right? But then it stops and I'm like, wait, what happened? The plant is all healthy and green. It's all full. Look how full this is. This is the thing. So tomatoes are a little higher maintenance. So with tomatoes, the actual plant is hairy. I don't know if you could pick up on the hair. It's kind of dark out here, but you see how there's hair? See the fine hairs? Okay, there's super fine hairs on the tomato plant. So that's the actual plant. Everything without hair is a sucker. It's called a sucker or offset. So you're supposed to actually prune those off. If you're gonna use shears, you want to wipe off with alcohol so that way you don't spread disease to each plant. You can do that with dirty shears, but this has no hair on it. This is a sucker. So there's two things I can do with this. I can compost it, or I can put it in compost or in really nutrient-rich soil by taking off some of the leaves and okay, we're not gonna use that one, but taking off some of the leaves.
You take off the bottom leaves, right?
Yeah, I totally ruined that, so let me get another one. You take off the bottom leaves and then you can stick it in compost or really nutrient-dense soil and grow a whole nother tomato plant. So that's actually where this came from. This is actually a sucker, and I just harvested these tomatoes before you came.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that was a sucker plant. I named it Charlie. So that's Charlie, and then a sucker plant. So you could have tomatoes forever. So seed saving from tomatoes as well as saving suckers, you could just start a whole tomato garden with one tomato. So the thing about it though is some companies I found out actually treat their produce so you can't regrow from seed. Have you ever, I know that my dreams were crushed when I was a kid when none of my seeds grew, you know what I'm saying? So that could be one of the reasons why, you know?
Yeah, they do some tricky stuff.
My goodness. So, but once you get a tomato, say if you have an overgrown tomato on a plant, or you just have a tomato from somewhere, you know, but you go at the grocery store, I don't know. So you could save the seeds and of course grow the seeds, but also you could start it from suckers. So that's two ways, and that does add to the whole permaculture thing of being self-sufficient and not having to go out and buy anything else, because buying compost is one, you can't really tell how rich it is because you don't know what was put in it, but also really good compost is very expensive. So composting at home is such a thing. So I'll show you our compost.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Oh, thank you. We gotta close that because they'll be all up in here. Now they want to come out. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this is our compost. It's just a storage bin. I know people are really big on aesthetics and so forth. That's cool if you want to pay for it. But we like to my family and I, we don't throw anything away, so we like to repurpose and reuse. And also, like I said, cost effectiveness and accessibility is a big thing for me. So this is a bin. I think it's 16 gallon. I think it's a 16 gallon one. It's about $8 to $15 depending on where you go. It's the really thick storage bin. We had holes pierced in the bottom with just a nail and a hammer, and then we lined it with I was gonna say toilet paper. Oh my god, we lined it with cardboard and newspaper, and then started from there. So there are some flies that come out, but this is full on compost breakdown. So the thing about it is it's not supposed to smell. It looks disgusting, but it doesn't smell disgusting. Oh, you don't smell at all?
I don't smell anything.
Oh, okay.
Is it smell right now?
It's not. It smells like compost. It doesn't stink though. That's the thing. So a lot of people throw everything in there.
It doesn't smell like it looks. Let me put that.
Yeah, it doesn't smell. That's the thing. It looks like death. So I'm just gonna throw that in there. But it doesn't smell at all, and that's the thing. That's the thing about composting is with proper balance. And I only use plant-based ingredients. I use eggshells, but that's the only thing that comes from an animal. Some people, they do use fish. I've saw chicken bones in people's compost. So don't do that, especially if they were fried chicken bones. Please don't do that. But this breaks down let's see. The top layer is about 3 weeks old, and the bottom black, I'm not gonna put my hands in there, I don't have gloves, is what we've compiled over the last 6 months. You'd be surprised the amount of waste that a family of 5 can make,
sure.
or even one person.
Right.
So this way, we have cardboard that came when we ordered. We were ordering water for a while. We have peaches and apples and things like that, and we just throw it in, especially if we see produce going bad.
That's great.
And that way we can
Is that
repurpose.
compostable plastic?
Yes. So there's this company called BioBags. And there, you could actually line a trash can because we have a smaller can near the kitchen door, and then they break down too.
That's rad.
So we have our own compost. It's black gold. Let me tell you,
rad.
it's black
Yeah,
gold.
right.
Adding just a couple handfuls of that to any garden bed, it starts popping off. Like, and the fact is, the interesting thing is, anybody can do this.
Do you have any aeration?
At the bottom, and then we turn it every 2 weeks by hand.
Okay.
And then my mom ordered earthworms.
Nice.
So earthworms are actually blind, and also heat paralyzes them. So it's important to keep this closed. And they love the dark, and they start doing their thing. So God bless them. They're the ones doing all the hard work. They're just tearing everything up right now. And then that's why. Go ahead.
And making good soil beneath this as well, probably.
Yeah, it's really moist, but it's heavy. But the chickens, whenever I open this lid, that's why I think they're more like dogs too. Their smell is amazing. When I open this lid, they could be all over there. They come running. Look at them. They were shy a minute ago, and now look, because they know that there's worms in there. But they'll hop in there and tear everything apart. So I can't have it. So I could take some treats.
Get that lid on.
I could take some old treats as bugs to them. I could take it and throw it, and they'll go fetch. So
Nice.
they know what's going on.
That's fun.
They know what's going on. So yeah, that's the compost, and that's
beautiful.
the. Oh, let's see if they laid any eggs. Yes.
Please, I wanted to ask about the tomatoes. Here in California, can you grow them year-round pretty much, or is it only a summer thing, or
So,
how do you do tomatoes?
Because we don't really. Well, I've heard that California doesn't have seasons. You know, it doesn't fall. It's like fall is like summer part 2.
Right.
So you can grow them up until fall, but you're gonna need like a hothouse or a very humid greenhouse in order to do it throughout winter. So the plants will go dormant, but you can keep them alive. Then come spring, they'll start producing more tomatoes. That's why they have the hothouse tomatoes or hothouse cucumbers. You know, like that's the thing too. Like working in a grocery store, especially in the produce section, you're gonna get those questions. Like somebody got mad. They're like, okay, can I have some watermelon? Where's the watermelon? Like, lady, it's February. What are you talking about? But they just assume that everything is all year round because the grocery store mentality. And it's just like psychologically, it's like they never really Googled any of this.
Right.
And they're like, I want cherries. What? I want mango. That's a tropical fruit. We're not in the tropics at all. But we get a lot of things, you know, from Mexico and Chile and all that, which I really appreciate. Nonetheless, everything is not supposed to be in season all the time. So when it comes to tomatoes, we can grow them probably up until, especially with how the weather's been now, October, pushing it, like end of October, pushing it. That's really pushing it. But then we'd have to have like a hothouse effect in order to maintain the growth of the tomato. But the plant will live. So just because a lot of these are annuals, meaning that they'll be gone within the season. But I had a tomato plant that lived for 3 seasons. I just lost it recently, like 2 weeks ago, to disease. But I had it for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I had that tomato plant for 3 years.
And it just kind of dies back and it comes back.
And that's how I got Charlie. So Charlie is actually from that tomato
keep the
plant.
line going.
Yes, you can just keep it going. So seed saving and propagation,
Do a little
great
bit
for
of both.
permaculture. Yeah.
Yeah.
And composting, of course. And sometimes you get, so I had a pumpkin that I smashed to bits that I got from my old job before I quit, and I was very salty. And I was so mad, so I smashed it into a million
That sounds
pieces.
like fun.
And then turns out chickens can eat pumpkin, but these are bougie chickens. They only like the best. They only like the freshest of bugs, and they didn't want it, so I threw it in the compost. I opened the lid 2 weeks later. I had 30 pumpkin plants in the compost. So that's how I got into pumpkins. So
Nice.
that's the beauty of composting too. I recently helped a client make her first compost bucket with the storage bin, and a bunch of potatoes were growing in her compost. So we just pull it out, plant it in soil separately, and now she could be a potato farmer. It's really like as a kid, I'm like, oh, you're gonna be a potato farmer. That sounds horrible, but now I'm just like, yes, potatoes, because they taste so good when you grow it yourself. I grew my own potato. It tastes like McDonald's French fries without the beef tallow and 20 ingredients. That's how food's supposed to taste, and that's the mind blowing part. And then you're like a little hurt, like, hey, everybody lied to me this whole time, but this is exactly how food's supposed to taste. So, Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Oh, we do have rain barrels. I think I talked to you about those.
That's rad. No,
We have rain
these
barrels.
come off of this.
Yeah, they were given to us by the city.
Rad. The city. Whoa! I
Yeah.
thought the city was fighting this kind of stuff.
I thought it was
City
illegal
supporting
too.
it.
Yeah, we got them about 3
yeah.
years ago, and then we have the runoff. This is actually water from April. They're all full.
Rad.
They're all completely full. Then we covered the tops, and the chickens love to drink this. So
That's
we
rad.
can use it to water. It's actually our emergency, but I'm just doing it for you now, and then I can clean it up a little bit. But it's running pretty clean. But if worst comes to worst,
Oh yeah, you
we
got water.
can filter it. Yeah.
So, how was the process to get the barrels, and like what do you know what the deal is with the city right now?
So
with that?
it was the same kind of thing like DWP 311 211. They come to lower income neighborhoods, and they were knocking door to door, and a lot of people actually rejected them. And I've actually seen a lot of them in like street trash alleys, and I want to take them, but I'm not. That's kind of sketch right now to do those things. But he was like, hey, I'm with the Water and Power. Do you want these barrels? My mom said yes. They installed the gutters, and then
That's
they added
so
the
cool.
4 barrels. Yeah,
That's so cool.
they have an open top, and then they have, this is actually the pieces for the greenhouse, but I don't know if I can lift this. They have an open top right here.
So they'll collect any water that falls on them.
Yeah, and then I like to have, if I had the space or something, I would love to have one right in the middle, like a more mobile one, just
Yeah.
to collect with no runoff, because this water definitely has to be clean because it's mostly runoff from the roof and
Right.
stuff, and there's a lot of pigeons up there. But just to pop it, so the oldest one, no demand, is just a bucket. But to have rain barrels like this is such a blessing, just in case, and then that's what we use to water if worst comes to worst, But
Yeah, there's some dry
it's-
seasons or what, just to have it there.
yeah, dry seasons. Oh my
comforting.
gosh, 2 years ago there was like no rain. Got a lot of rain this year and last year, but yeah, that's the whole operation.
This is beautiful. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for showing me. What are these trees surrounding it? Do you have any?
I have no idea. I haven't got super into what's it called? Arborist?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got into that stuff yet. They came with the house. They do flower like these halo-like circles in spring. The flowers since fell off, but they provide a lot of shade. But they came with the house. They've been here longer than I have, so
Nice.
I have no idea. I know that we put these fruit trees here. We have a mandarin orange tree and a white peach tree. We had 3 peaches last year.
Hey.
Squirrel came down, took them. And then we had 1 peach this year. Chickens took it. So,
Is that your pumpkin?
That's a pumpkin.
What?
That's the one pumpkin. Yeah.
That's a
Come on,
nice.
Mom.
That's a nice looking pumpkin right there.
Yeah. So that's the one pumpkin I got. We had 1 female flower that was properly pollinated, and this is my proud pumpkin.
That is a gorgeous pumpkin.
Thanks. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I have no idea. I kind of just want to chew on it. Like that's what I do. Like once I started growing my own food, I would just like wash it off and just eat it. 'Cause I want to taste how it's
Yeah.
really supposed to taste.
Naturally.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I want to do with this, or I'll just roast it with no seasoning.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow, this has been an amazing tour
Oh yeah. Let's see if we got any eggs.
of the Plant Plug LA. Oh, checking on the eggs. We're passing a lime
So,
tree.
good eggs come from happy chickens. If they're ever upset, they won't lay.
Wow.
But I respect what they do ever so much. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
there
this is
you
where
go.
they stay at night.
Yeah, they stay at night. They actually sleep on a perch like other birds. I always thought they
Nice.
like sat in here. This is just where they come to lay. But what they do is that they actually sleep on a perch, and if you wake them up, they turn around and they put their butts right in your face, like how dare you? Yeah. So I'm gonna have some jalapenos too. You like jalapenos?
Oh, definitely. So these peppers do all right under the shade.
Yeah. So I'm surprised they did. We just put this up for the heat wave, so it might come down
Gotcha.
first. But they've been still flowering and getting really high and tall, and I'm
Nice.
surprised because they don't.
Still a lot of UV comes through here.
Yes.
Not totally.
So we have 4 different types of peppers. No, I think 5. We have the chili de arbol, the black cobra, jalapenos, pre-pea peppers, and habanero.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, some jalapenos.
So beautiful.
Oh, and now I can make salsa.
There you go.
I didn't even think of that.
You're ready.
I didn't think of that, but this is a mandarin orange tree. This actually
Beautiful.
took about 4 years to start giving off. Even this, they look like limes right now.
Did you start it from a propagation or?
No, my parents bought it. It was a gift or something. I don't know. They brought home like 7 trees one day. Like, look what we got. I'm like, oh my gosh. So this is a gift.
Nice.
But see, that's the thing about giving plants as gifts too. You gotta keep them alive.
Right.
Like a lot of people give orchids, And so my parents actually kept the orchids alive somehow. I don't know how. I'm terrible with like plants like this. I'm so bad. But then they have this fiddle fig leaf tree, and this is still alive too. Also a gift.
Wow.
So you know they won't. I like getting flowers and all that is nice, but like give me a plant and then we'll keep it.
Right.
We'll keep it. We'll
Exactly.
It.
Exactly. Instead of a Christmas tree, let's get a Christmas fig or a Christmas. I don't know.
I would.
Something
now,
cool.
see, I'm like, dang, I should have grew my own Christmas trees this year.
Right.